Hi class. So we are just continuing with our inference mini lesson. This is part 2. We're just going to quickly review what is an inference. Inference is a guess based on clues and what you might already know about something, about a subject. Okay? So remember that when we are making an inference, we are using evidence from the text. We are using our schema, what I already know, and when we put those two together, we can make an inference. Okay, and some key words or clue words that we can look for to be able to identify when something is an inference would be I think, maybe, I predict, my guess is, probably. Okay, and the activity that I have for us today is we are going to be using this graphic organizer to come up with our inference. So I am going to be reading you and showing you some little scenarios. We are going to find the text evidence and write it here in this box. We are going to write our schema, what we already know. And using those two, we are going to be able to make our inference. Okay? So let's move on. So what I'm going to be showing you, it's in my laptop. It's a little bit, takes a few seconds to clear up. Okay, I think that looks good. So we are going to be reading this short paragraph, and it's already asking us two questions. Where is mom? How do you know? So we are going to be reading the paragraph, and we are going to be using it to find our text evidence. We're going to use our schema to be able to make our inference. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is read the paragraph. And I'm not going to read it just one time. I'm going to read it twice just to make sure I really understand what it's telling me. Okay? My mom picked up the milk and eggs from the freezer. She pushed the cart with my baby sister in it and went through the checkout line. Okay? I'm going to read it again. My mom picked up the milk and eggs from the freezer. She pushed the cart with my baby sister in it and went through the checkout line. Now I'm going to look at my questions. Where is my mom? How do you know? So here is where we're going to be using our graphic organizer. So what is my text evidence? What is the text telling me? Well, it's telling me that my mom, she picked up eggs and milk. From where? From the freezer. She pushed a cart. I'm going to make these into bullets. She pushed a cart, and then she went through the checkout line. Went through checkout line. So that's my text evidence. This is what the text is telling me. Now I'm gonna use my schema. Well, what do I know? Eggs and milk from freezer. So where would they be? Maybe at a store? She pushed a cart. Where do they have carts? They have carts at grocery store, right? And she went out through the checkout line. So I think she was definitely at a grocery store, because whenever you are buying things like eggs and milk, you put them in a cart and then you go to the checkout line. That's where you go pay, right? Go pay at checkout. So I can make my inference that where is my mom? I'm going to answer my question now. My mom is in the grocery store. Oops. Okay. How do you know? Well, I know because stores have freezers. They have carts, right? And most importantly, they have checkout lines. So I think my inference is correct. I can infer that my mom is at the grocery store. And I know this because the grocery store has freezers, carts, and a checkout line. Okay? So look at how I set up my text evidence. Once I had my text evidence, I used my schema and I kind of went bullet by bullet. Well, what do I know about eggs and milk from freezer? They're usually found at the store. Push the cart. Where would you push a cart? Usually when you go buy groceries, you have a little cart, right? And then she went through the checkout line. Well, where do you go to the checkout line? Why would you go through a checkout line? You go when you're gonna go pay for something, right? So I used all my text evidence, my schema to come up with my inference. Okay, and we inferred that she is in the grocery store. Okay, we're gonna do one more together. Okay, I'm gonna show you the next one. 1 second. Here we go. All right, so this is our next piece of text we're gonna read. Ready? It was very quiet when James walked inside. He returned the books in the return items drawer and went to the children's section. He checked out 2 books and left with his parents. Where is James? And how do you know? So again, I'm going to use my graphic organizer to make my inference. What is my text evidence? The first piece of evidence that I have was it was very quiet. So I'm thinking already, what would be very quiet places? He returned books. Returned book. Was it books? Yes, he returned books. He not only put them anywhere, he put them in a special drawer in the return item drawer. Okay. Then he went to the children's section. And lastly, he checked out 2 books. So as I'm writing my text evidence, I'm already thinking, well, what do I know about very quiet places? What would be some very quiet places? So one right away that I can think of would be maybe like a doctor's office or a library. You know, people aren't really talking there, they're reading. So I think a library would probably be a good one, right? Because he does have books. Then it says he returned books. So, yep, I think my library would make sense because you return books that you borrow. Return books that, that you borrow. Let me fix that. That you borrow, okay? And whenever you go to a library, and what I remember from when I've gone to a library, you don't just bring your books and just set them anywhere. You have to put them in a special place, right? It could be a return item drawer, or you have to put them like in a special box so that the librarian knows you're bringing those books back, okay? And then in libraries, they have books by sections. They have children's sections, they have animal sections, they have space sections. So here it's telling me that he went to a specific section in the library. And lastly, this is the big one, this is the biggest clue, he checked out 2 books. So I know that in libraries you not only return books, but you can also take books out, right? You take them home. You can take, you can take them home to read. So now that I have my text evidence and I kind of looked at what I already know about libraries, I can come up with a good inference that James was in the library. So I can infer James was in, I'm sorry, it's a little hard to read, the library. Well, how do I know that? I know that because in libraries, it's usually very quiet. It's a quiet place because people are reading. So I'm going to put it's a quiet place. You return books. And you check out books. Okay, so I hope that this strategy is helpful. I really like to use this strategy because it helps me plan out my thinking. Sometimes I need to see everything written down so that I can really come up with a good inference. I am able to see all the text evidence that is in the paragraph or in the text. I can write out what I already know about the subject, and those 2 pieces of evidence, of information, help me come up with a good inference. So here we were able to infer that James was in the library, and I think my text evidence and what I already know about the subject proves my inference correct. Okay, I hope that this strategy was helpful, and I hope you can use it whenever you're doing your passages. And if you don't need to have a graphic organizer, well, you can use a graphic, or what I'm trying to say, you can use a graphic organizer, but you can just use a simple piece of paper. If you have expos at home, you can just draw one, and it's in a little sheet protector, so you can erase it and write and use it over and over again. So here I used a piece of paper inside a sheet protector with my expos, and I erase it and use my graphic organizer several times as I'm doing my work. Alright guys, so I hope this strategy helped you. And again, if you have any questions about making inferences, about how to use this strategy, please message me on Dojo. I'll be more than happy to help you, okay? Alright, thank you. Goodbye.